Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the exceptionally rare rock-flying type Pokemon Aerodactyl, the Fossil Pokémon. A terrifying sight to see, and with a screech that is more than identifiable, Aerodactyl are vicious beasts that can easily make themselves into a presence that few want to be around without adequate protection.
Aerodactyl have a grey, scaly hide with a rounded torso, a pair of powerful legs with 3 toes each, 2 in the front and 1 in the back for stability, a long tail with an arrow-shaped tip, a bony protrusion on their back, and a set of large wings with 3 claws on each of their hands and a thick purple membrane that they use to initiate and maintain flight. They possess an elongated head with a long, hooked snout and lower jaw, razor-sharp fangs lining their entire lower jaw, as well as a pair of horns on the back of their head and dull green eyes. It is further noted that these beasts have access to a Mega Evolved state, and in this state, while their general body form doesn't really change all that much, thick rocky spires grow all over their body, back, tail, wings, and head that give them a more menacing appearance.
Aerodactyl, one of several species of Pokemon known that have been resurrected from rare fossil remains imbued with fragments of genetic material, old ambers in their case, and are thus a key piece in understanding what Earth was like in ancient times.
Aerodactyl were not directly related to dinosaurs, but instead represent a particular lineage of pterosaur under a specific subgroup that ruled the skies during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods and subsequently died out along with the rest of their ancient relatives. In all honesty, Aerodactyl probably represent the most extreme case of fossil resurrection and were probably a mistake to resurrect from the onset, as the first successful resurrection attempt ended in some casualties due to being more ferocious than initially expected, the creatures as a whole being vicious beasts that can easily tear apart opponents of all types from the moment of birth with no natural evolutionary relatives alive today. However, Aerodactyl also offer up an interesting look at the entire process of fossil resurrection, as they were also the first to ever be resurrected because Old Amber has a better shot at preserving genetic material more effectively than base rock regardless of where it is found. As such, Aerodactyl are furthermore the most complete fossil Pokemon alive today and have undergone the least amount of genetic tampering, though it is still fairly extensive. As one could imagine, however, this means that Aerodactyl are also the least docile fossil Pokemon around, and are rarely let go into the wild because of the devastation they tend to wreak across whatever mountain area they call home. Not surprisingly, many experts speculate that Aerodactyl, despite not being the largest flying reptiles to ever live, were likely the fiercest to live during the normal time period and probably ruled the ancient Cretaceous skies with an iron fist, or fang, so to speak, even if they were likely hampered a bit with this skewed gender ratio of 8-to-1 in favor of males.
Aerodactyl are proficient hunters that waste little time while hunting, always going for whatever prey they can with grim determination and unmatched ferocity.
Unlike most other rock-type Pokemon, Aerodactyl are unbelievably fast and can easily outmaneuver most modern birds even though they technically only glide on air currents and are unable to maintain true sustained flight for long distances, thus making them a lethal force in both the wild and battle on any day. The only exception is on the ground, as they cannot move very fast when not in the air and are more restrained in their power when outgoing aggression. Moreover, Aerodactyl are a massive threat to be around because of the serrated, saw-like teeth that line their mouth in place of beaks. When hunting, Aerodactyl will use these sharp teeth to cut straight through the jugular of their prey without any hesitation, being able to do so even if their prey's outer skin or hide is covered in metal, in an attempt to bring them down as swiftly as possible, which makes sense considering they don't exactly have the strongest of defenses. If Aerodactyl are unable to attack their target directly or immediately upon seeing them, they will employ an equally devastating weapon to distract them, a painful, screeching cry that can be heard from nearly a mile away. Aside from enabling them to utilize a weak supersonic technique, this cry is effectively a death threat to any fleshy beast that might be lumbering nearby, as Aerodactyl will never otherwise give the location away, and thus will never clearly show what beast they might be targeting from up in the sky. Altogether, this makes Aerodactyl some of the most efficient killing machines ever produced by Mother Nature throughout all of time, and thus a tremendous opponent to face on any day, particularly since they actually have access to both the Hyper Beam and Giga Impact attacks naturally, a trait that has managed to carry over to the modern day without any loss at all.
This is further made clear in their possible abilities, as these creatures can use their rocky hides and menacing appearances to terrify others, having access to rock head and pressure as base abilities, while those that are just plain unnerving to watch in battle can in turn have Unnerve as a hidden ability.
As far as the stats are concerned though, it has to be noted that these beasts are not the most well protected against damage and don't have much to offer in the way of special power, so the base defense, special attack, and special defense stats are all below average for fully evolved rock and flying type Pokemon. However, they do at least have decent stamina to them and can hit decently hard with incredible speed, so the base HP stat is above average for fully evolved rock type Pokemon and about average for fully evolved flying type Pokemon, and the base attack and speed stats are above average for fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, further possessing the highest base speed stat out of all rock-type Pokemon, and rendering them a nimble threat that precise aiming will be needed for if one wishes for any chance to take them down readily.
It is lastly noted that Aerodactyl is one of only a select number of Pokemon known to be capable of undergoing Mega Evolution, though the fact that they can actually do this as a fossil Pokemon makes it a strange case. The most likely explanation is that its associated Megastone was created in the presence of old amber containing their DNA.
With Aerodactylite in tooth or claw, Mega Evolution transforms these already imposing beasts into devastating agile monsters by reawakening genes that are deactivated due to the random errors in the cloning process, causing them to grow sharp, rock-like projections of thickened hide across their entire body. This grants them a physical appearance that is now speculated by some to represent what they actually look like alive prior to fossilization, which might be explained by the creation of the stone in the presence of the species' original genetic material, and not the altered DNA of resurrected specimens. At the same time though, their behavior becomes even more vicious than normal, to the point of almost absolute bloodlust. The exact cause for this change in demeanor is not completely certain, but it is thought by some that it is because the excess power granted by Mega Evolution actually hurts the beasts, irritating them to the point of driving them into a pain-induced frenzy that leads them to attack anything that moves and make them incredibly hard to control. In terms of stats, this change in body form has the effect of slightly increasing Mega Aerodactyl's base special attack stat, moderately increasing the base defense, special defense, and speed stats, and considerably increasing the base attack stat. In turn, they retain possession of the highest base speed stat out of all rock-type Pokemon. In addition to providing additional reinforcement against direct attacks, the presence of these rock-hard spines has the effect of enabling Aerodactyl to strike with direct contact attacks far more fiercely in battle without having to worry about damaging their claws or other external features, in turn granting them the Tough Claws ability and making them a fearsome sight to behold in battle, let alone confront in actual close-quarters combat.
Okay, so I really don't like birds for the most part, but this bloody beast, is a nightmare for anyone to have to deal with. These creatures are stone-cold killers that will viciously attack others with little sense of remorse or care, and are a legitimate danger to all that are near them if they haven't been properly trained. Now, it is true that they're sort of on the frail side defensively, and they can be taken advantage of, but these monsters are incredibly fast in the air, and can maneuver themselves around direct attacks surprisingly easily, making the art of actually hitting them a pain in the butt. Moreover, even if you really do want to try your hand at raising one, the old amber needed to bring them to life are extremely rare and hard to come by in a lot of cases, so you'll likely have to go through some notable hoops if you really want one. However, with all that said, these monsters can indeed prove to be rather powerful to work with if you've got the patience and time needed for them, and given that they have the capacity to Mega Evolve, they can be made even more potent in the heat of a battle, and really have a chance to show what their non-lethal offenses can truly deliver.
With a call that can make the blood of others run cold at any time of the day, and a horrid jaw that can bite and cut through flesh with ease, Aerodactyl are potent predators that can make a meal out of almost anything without strong armor to deflect their attacks. Getting access to one might be extremely difficult, but if you need a high flyer that can tear others limb from limb, these beasts can more than do the job.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure to never skip feeding time by more than an hour or two, or you might find yourself turning into virtual paper when their sharp teeth shred your face and everything else to pieces for not satiating their demands.
Thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz, to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.